I've got to take some time off for the next few weeks, but fear not, your weekly tank restoration fixes will still be coming through. This week, Steve is fixing up and repairing our artyleryjski Tiagościaszli. Hi, I'm Kurt from AusArmour, and welcome to Workshop Wednesday.
So the BMP's back in its parking spot inside the museum. It's crammed full of different tasty bits of equipment, but I think I'm going to be tucking into another big bowl of borscht. Would you check this thing out? I guess they call it an artillery tractor or some sort of utility vehicle built on the chassis of some sort of early model T-54 or something like that. Yeah, I reckon this is the next one for me to have a look at. Have a guess maybe what's wrong? Yeah, so this has just been sitting here for about 10 minutes and it's already dripped a fair bit of oil on the bottom, so no surprises. Feast your eyes on this thing, eh? Check it out. Plenty of room for a run down to Bunnings or the hardware store to pick up a few supplies. This great cab here, it's got more than enough room for you and a few of your closest comrades. Yep, she's some machine. Looking forward to having a bit of a play around with this. So I figured I'd open it up and just share with you a bit of the really unique configuration of this vehicle. Everything's all turned around and jammed in the wrong way with the drive at the front and the trusty old V12 diesel that's sitting there. And you've got lots of the standard sort of Soviet stuff. You've got the engine oil tank. Over the other side is the fuel tank. In here's the radiator. Looks like there's a engine oil heat exchanger that goes into the radiator, which happens to be where the majority of the oil seems to be coming out from underneath. This caught my attention here, so whenever I see tape wrapped around something, immediately I get suspicious, and yeah, sure enough, this radiator hose here, you can see the paint's coming off and it's leaking water, so it's got a pinhole in it. If this part's got a pinhole, it's likely that others have the same sort of thing. I think there's lots of bolts and stuff on the floor. There's a few panels to pull up, so I'm guessing if you pull that up and maybe even take the seats out, that'll probably give us access to the top of the engine. These old Soviet style radiator caps are still actually holding pressure. Very impressive. Yeah, look at this. Obviously at some point the thing's had developed a leak and it's just been refilled with plain water, so look at the colour in here, all the rust, so this is definitely something that's got to be fixed. I'm hoping this is the drain for the cooling system so I can sort of flush some of the rusty stuff out of it. Here we've got quite a bit of diesel is leaking out of it. That unit there hanging off the side is the water pump. This unit in here is the oil pump. And we've got the engine driven fuel pump on that side there. Oil filter here. that's not in a nice place, and it's going to create a hell of a mess to check that, but it's got to be done. That's the faithful old hand priming pump just in there for the fuel system, and I can see that's wet with fuel, so that could be a potential source of fuel leak. For those of you familiar with the BMP, another one of those tricky coaxial pipes here. So this is the main inlet to the oil pump from the oil tank, but it's got coolant hoses going through it, meaning this should be the drain pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and crack that nut off. Let's see if it'll even come off. Maybe not. Oh. Yes. Lovely. Some nice grubby rusty water. So alright, we've definitely hit pay dirt here, so this is what we are looking for. Oh! Only 3 buckets.
After his initial look over, Steve took the beast into the workshop and had a go at making it more accessible in the engine compartment.
I think this is about the right time to say that I'm getting too old for this type of hijinks. I hope you don't have to come in here and get me if I bugger my back or something like that and I can't get out. Oh, no, of course. Hose clamps in this bucket. Be kind, go easy on me. Now, the key is to wriggle this thing out without it flying off and busting my knuckles. That's how you do it.
He had a win with the coolant line, but does he have the acrobatic fortitude for the oil filter? Luckily, AusArmour has provided a high quality duvet to spare his elbows and knees.
I wonder if it's duck feathers. I reckon it feels like bloody chicken feathers to me. That's probably why it's in the workshop but not on someone's bed. There you go, it's moving. I'm willing to bet that this has not been done in an extremely long time. Let's get this bugger out. Is there another one inside? Feels like it. Come to mama. Ah, it's like trying to hold onto a greased pig. Gotcha. This is the end cap for the oil filter, and you can see the heavy layer of sludge that's in there. So I don't think this engine has a centrifuge in it. Looks like a cartridge filter. I don't know if you can see it, but there's some little clips in here, which must mean that you can pop the end off the cover and maybe take it apart and give it a clean. So I think I'll do that. This may be the last time that it ever gets cleaned again, because it's such a massive headache to do it. And in a few years' time, I'm certainly going to be too old to get in there and get the bloody thing out. Look at that. So trying to weld this up is just going to be a exercise in whack-a-mole, but I wanted to show you what a fine bit of bodgery this is. So somebody's gone to the effort of putting insulation tape around the pipe first and then winding some butyl tape over the top of it. Originally it looked like a sort of a cartridge type filter that you might just chuck in the bin and replace it. It actually comes apart, so it's got all of these discs inside and they alternate between cardboard and felt, and we'll give it a good wash. But you know what, in the grand scheme of things, it's actually not too bad. So I'd like to be able to click my fingers and make all of this stack of bits and pieces jump back inside its filter housing all in the right order and without breaking or busting anything, but I'm not going to be able to do that. So instead, I'm going to spend a bit of time channeling a bit of my inner peace.
With great meditational stamina, Steve got the furry discs back into what we hope is the right order. Now Jesse lends a hand getting the cap back on.
It's just not lining up. Just that one a little bit, yep. Up a bit, yep. No. Yep, go up a bit. A little bit more. Yep, there you go. Good as. That's good, yep. Yep.
I think you got it.
Mate, how good is that?
Yep.
Cheers. I tell you, every opportunity I get, I just can't help but marvel at the size and the presence of this thing. Nothing like a set of freshly laundered oil filters. Doesn't get much better than this. Especially when it fits in so easily. Cleaning off all that sludge really does help. Trick is here to make sure the lid's started properly so that it doesn't go in at a bad angle. There we go. Jobs on the list for me today is to refit this coolant pipe. Yesterday Silvio went into town to the exhaust shop and they bent up a piece of pipe to basically match the profile of it. So I've got to clean that up, paint it and get that ready for installation. How did I do this before? I really hope I don't need to do this too many more times. There's a coolant hose that I've got to try and get onto, nestled in their starter motor, and join it up to the other one. At least one clever thing I did is that I wore some trousers today rather than shorts, so I don't have every sharp edge on the bloody engine biting me. My foot is jammed in a very uncomfortable position, so it's a race between getting these clamps done up or my foot going to sleep. While I'm squashed into this this space, I'll take the opportunity to give the steering brakes a bit of a clean as much as I can. A few times when I was moving it out from the museum into the workshop, it was having a real problem trying to turn right, and it does have an oil leak in the final drive, which I think is getting onto the steering brakes. I mean, it does tend to burn off if you can generate enough heat, but it's a bit like chicken or the egg, you know, you need friction to make heat, so if you got oil, you don't get the friction.
We have more work to do on Stalin's monster truck, but that's all we have time for today. Join us next Wednesday for your weekly tank restoration fix. So until then, I'm Kurt from AusArmour.
Alright, that's about as good as I'll get it. First thing I'll do as soon as I get out, I'm cancelling my Pilates membership.
And I'll see you on the next one.